So on the menu today, Julia Child's paella. She's got a recipe for everything.
Oh! Bon appetit.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to my home. Welcome back to your home for a little bit. And this is Julia's French chef cookbook. With a name like that for a book, naturally, we are gonna make the Spanish paella. It's called Paella a l'Americaine. And she calls it that so that she's in the clear. American paella. And you know what? I'm gonna continue my streak today of making the non-French recipes from Julia's repertoire. Got a little streak going. A whole rice dinner in one pot, Spanish style. That's the paella. And a hearty, savory party dish it is too. Paella also makes a lively conversation piece. You will never find agreement on what besides rice should go into it. It appears that each region and each cook in Spain has a personal recipe and technique. She reiterates something like this in her TV show too, where she's like, nobody can agree with this dish and what goes into it. And arguing about it is worse than arguing about politics. That's what she says. In the 60s. And you know what? That sounds heavenly. One of my best food experiences of my life was when I traveled to Madrid and had a seafood paella. Here's the proof. You can see there. As good as that one was, Julia's recipe here is not going to be anything like that because she created this recipe as a way to, whatever you're going to find at an American grocery store, you can put it in a paella. Whatever strikes your fancy. So you can't argue with that, it's her vision. Well, you can't argue with paella or politics. We've solved a lot of problems in just such a short period of time. Anyway, there's gonna be some interesting stuff in here. Let's get to work. So there are quite a few ingredients that I need to get prepared before we start cooking, of course. So I need to get them all in front of me right now, and then we'll go through each and every one of them. Abracadabra. Now she says you can put anything you want into a paella, but it has to include rice, saffron, garlic, and paprika. These are mandatory. Everything else, it's just like go buck wild. So I did. Remember when I told you about my little trip to Madrid and that paella? Well, this is my contribution to Julia's recipe right here, are the shrimp with the heads on. Now she mentions nothing about the heads, but I'm like, you know what? Whoops. That's my contribution. Now that I have it all in front of me, I did the whole dog and pony show or whatever you want to call it. I have to disperse all of this now because looking at it is a bit overwhelming and it's kind of in my way. So just one at a time. Great. I have around 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of these shrimps here, these big boys, and I'm going to reserve 5 of them with the heads. The rest I need to take the heads off, deshell, and devein. Remove the poop chute. Squeeze the head and the body and just kind of pull apart. There is a way to do it and also remove the yeah, remove the vein at the same time. Oh yeah, there it is. Pull apart. And if you're lucky, you get the vein to go with it. And I can't get it every time. Squeeze that tail and yank that off. Great. Just cut the top open here. And then the vein is gonna be on the inside. There it is, there it is, there it is. Pull that out. There's the vein, poop chute.
Hi, Ann.
How's it going?
Good. Well, how's your paella going?
I'm just removing shit from shrimp.
Oh.
I got a paella pan here. This is 13 inches. It holds 3 quarts worth. It's carbon steel. So I just got this. Obviously, it's not like a mandatory thing to have. I'm sure you could make it work with a frying pan or a skillet or something like that. But I reached out to the sponsor of this video, Made In, and said, hey, do you have a paella pan? They said, we do. Here it is. And I was like, sweet, thank you. And also thank you for sponsoring this video. Made In is out here making cookware for the home cook, but their stuff is so professional quality that you're gonna find it in 3 Michelin star kitchens, hobnobbing with the big guns. It's also getting to the point in this kitchen that anytime I'm reaching for a pan, it's most likely gonna be a Made In. But it's not just pans, because I have their carbon steel griddle, and it's super versatile. This is a gas stove, but if you had electric, induction, that works too. And it gets nice and hot, up to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you like the outdoors and you want to throw it on an open flame, go for it. What sets this thing apart from a pan, obviously, is the space you have to cook with. Like if I want to put a pancake there, and then I want to put a pancake like there, but I don't want to put a pancake there, well then I won't. It's just maximizing my cooking space, and I like to take advantage. Be a good flip. If you want to check out the carbon steel griddle or any of Maiden's other cookware, you can use the link in my description to save on your order. Thank you, Maiden, and I'm gonna get back to this paella. So either chicken thighs, chicken drumsticks, these are boneless, and what I'm gonna do is just kind of chop them up into pieces. Manageable, digestible pieces. She doesn't say anything about chopping up the chicken, but I think it's just gonna be better that way. Much better. I know, practice what you preach, stick to the recipe, but this is one of those instances where I'm just like, no, this is what I want. Because I've seen other paellas that have these chopped up like this. Mussels. So these mussels I have cleaned up already. I de-bearded them, which was that little hairy bit that sticks out of the shell. It's what the mussel like latches onto when it's out in the ocean. I just pulled that, just yanked it out. And I cleaned up. Yeah, all right. And then I just cleaned up the shells. Like anything that was sticking to them, I just kind of scraped it off. You know, sea barnacles, anything like that, anything suspicious. I picked through them and made sure that only the good ones remain. And that was, yeah, just the ones that had like broken shells, ones that weren't closing. I just like, these are all alive. Anyway, I'm gonna keep these in the fridge. I'm gonna need them to like further down the road. You know what we gotta talk about is the most important ingredient of all, which is the rice. Or in Spanish, and apologies, I cannot roll my R's, arroz, which is rice in Spanish, sorry. This is bomba rice. It is the ideal rice for paella. And you can use this, or in a pinch, you could use Italian arborio rice. Both rices will do. However, you don't want to use, as Julia says, long grain rice. You don't want to use like a long grain rice because it gets gummy. You don't want your paella to be gummy. A denser, more absorbent grain. It is perfect for absorbing the flavorful broth of paella. Julia says that you don't have to add the pork if you don't want to. I'm gonna try it. So I have some bacon and some Italian sausage. With this bacon that I have here, I'm just gonna cut it into lardon. Something like that. Simmer the sausages for 10 minutes, as Julia says, to like, I guess to render some of the fat out of them or something. I don't know, it seems kind of pointless, especially because I have bacon right here and then that has all this fat in it. Sausages have been simmered, removed all the color. Yay. Roughly dice them up. Yellow onion. Sliced. Green pepper. A rough chop, dice, slice, whatever. 2 tomatoes. Thank you. Boiling water on top just for 10 seconds. Skin peels off, no problem. Remove the stem, cut them in half horizontally. Remove the seeds and the juice, roughly chop. Even if Julia doesn't think so, I'm gonna keep the juice. So we're gonna start off with a frying pan, not the paella pan. You could probably do everything in one pot if you were, but not Julia Child. She doesn't roll that way. She says it's easier, at least it was for her, to brown some things in a frying pan and then use the paella pan for everything else. So I'm just gonna follow that. Keep myself out of trouble. Let's get a little olive oil in there. All right, I don't need much olive oil. Honestly, I probably didn't need any, but. So the bacon and the sausage, in it goes, and we're gonna lightly brown it. So I'm using around half a pound of sausage and a quarter cup of bacon, give or take. I have to half this recipe, I'll explain shortly. Okay, this is when we get into classic Julia territory. I'm gonna bring the paella pan over here, but I'm gonna pour the rendered pork fat into the paella pan. Now you can see what was so confusing about simmering that sausage, because we're just using the rendered pork fat over there. Just need the pork fat in there, nothing else. So, yeah, it's just because of the show. I blame the show. So in this frying pan here, I continue on a medium heat, half a cup of sliced onion and half a cup of the green bell pepper. Turn that down to a low heat, just kind of do that. And then I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna cook those vegetables slowly until they become tender. It's gonna take around 10 minutes. Just gonna do the old pan shuffle here. I'm gonna dry the chicken thoroughly, and I'm gonna add it in to the pork fat in the paella pan. This is gonna be on the test. In the recipe, Julia is saying use a 6-quart paella pan, which would be double the size of this. This is 3 quarts, so I'm halving the recipe. No problemo. So this is 4 chicken thighs. I get that on like a medium-high heat to brown this chicken. I gotta brown it nicely on all sides. Now it is time to add the vegetable and sausage mixture here into the paella pan. I feel like you could have just done all of this in the same pan. You could have made it work, but whatever. I'm gonna add in a 1/4 cup of dry white vermouth, and that is for sure Julia's signature on the dish, is the wine. Had to be wine, right? Say what you want, but that is perfect for deglazing. Now Julia does a combination of both chicken stock and beef stock for this next part, so I'm gonna do the same. This is a cup of chicken stock, and here's a cup and 1/4 of beef stock. 1/4 teaspoon of saffron threads. Just like a pinch of ground coriander. 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, as Julia says. I say oregano. Half a teaspoon of sweet paprika. That's an important ingredient right there. It's gonna help turn this dish red. And of course, 1 bay leaf. I'm just joking, I'm adding 2, I'm not driving. Now I got 2 cloves of garlic and I'm gonna roughly mince them. She says the rougher the mince, the more European it feels. So I don't really know what that means, but okay. Garlic, get some salt in there and crack in some black pepper. Give it a good stir. Bring that up to a simmer, cool. And then I need to cover it. I don't have a lid that's big enough for this paella pan. So how about this pizza tray? That fits like a glove. So I had a thought. While I'm waiting for this to simmer, I got 20 minutes and I have a dirty frying pan right here. Thinking it'd probably be a wise idea with some of these bigger shrimp like these ones to start cooking them now. Get them turning color. I add a little olive oil in there and add them into the pan. But I'm probably not gonna need as many shrimp as I thought I was gonna need because that pan is really filling up. Maybe 4 big boys. Yeah, do 4. So they only have a little more cooking to do, but they got a really nice color to them now, and then they can go right on top when I need them. At this point in time, we can turn off the heat. Thing is, she says that the chicken should only be 2/3 of the way cooked through. But that's because she's using the full pieces of the thigh, and I cut it up into chunks, which I'm totally cool with, because she doesn't account for the fact that I have the shrimp heads. That's dynamite. Take the other shrimp, in they go. A tablespoon of olive oil, just a pinch of oregano, tablespoon of lemon juice, some salt, pepper. Let's toss that all together. Let's keep that in the fridge until I'm ready for it, which will probably be in like 5 minutes anyway. And then I have one last big guy over here. I'm gonna save this one for a rainy day. Or a sunny day. It's getting into summer, right? The last thing we have to discuss are these green peas and these chickpeas. These 2 ingredients here are not necessarily found in traditional paella, but we're not making a traditional paella. So I don't know where it's going with that, honestly. Now, she wants me to boil these for 5 minutes to make them tender, both of them. But I think she's using fresh peas, and I'm using frozen peas that I thawed out. And they're already very tender. As are the chickpeas. They're incredibly tender. If I boil them, that would be trouble. Yeah, I'm not boiling them. Okay, so we got all our ducks in a row here. I think we should go, well, we have to, go back to the stove for the main event. This part makes me nervous. It's the rice part, which is obviously the most important part of this dish. This is around 1 cup of like stock and liquid in here. And I need to add 1 cup of rice. But you need double the amount of liquid to rice. Julia has no mention of what to do in this scenario, like what should I be adding? So I have no real options here but to add another cup of chicken stock. Add half a cup of chicken stock. Add that much chicken stock, have that simmer together so that it just kind of commingles. And then, yeah, I had to do it, you know? Maybe a little more. Honestly, maybe just a little more. So I'm gonna have that come up to a boil. All right, so just have a taste because I don't want all those great flavors that I worked so hard for to be lost in here now. I think if we just simmer it just a bit longer, it will be all good. Just wait for this to come up to a rapid boil. Well, it has. I think the most challenging part about paella is that once you add the rice, you're not supposed to stir it because paella has that like signature bottom layer of crust that forms. And that happens when you add the rice and you don't stir it. So this is where the challenge is because I'm gonna add the rice, I'm not supposed to stir it, and I can't burn it. It's a conundrum. Just sprinkle it in. This is 1 cup of rice. All right, and then I just kind of push it down into the liquid, into the stock. Do not stir it, you little brat. So let it boil for 5 to 6 minutes. Do not stir it and leave it uncovered. Please do not burn on the bottom. When rice has begun to swell and has absorbed enough liquid so that it has risen to the surface, strew in all the stuff. Half a pound of the shrimp, get them in there, you know? Eyeballing the peas because Julia likes peas. I don't know about the peas, but I added the peas. Also the chickpeas. I don't know about those two, but I'm gonna eyeball it. Push them down. Also tomatoes. Now the mussels go in, hinge side down. Hinge side down. Hinge side down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Probably one too many. Somehow, I gotta get these shrimp in there too. The big shrimp, I want those in there as well, on top of everything, you know? So I gotta reduce the heat, let this simmer for 7 to 8 minutes. Are you not doing hinge side down? Oh, hinge side down, you dum-dum. Okay, sorry about the hinge side down thing. Yeah, we gotta do the hinge side down. I forgot about hinges, but you have now fixed the problem. So with the spoon, just continue to press things down, but do not stir. It's been 8 minutes and the rice needs to be just tender, slightly al dente. Okay, I have some lemon slices here that I'm just gonna strategically place into this thing here. And then finally, chopped parsley on top, just like so. Order up! The Spanish term for crust on the bottom of a paella is called, and I can't roll my R's, socarrat. Socarrat? Butchered. Anyway, did we form a socarrat on the bottom of this paella pan? Because I don't know. Very minimal. Oh, it's kind of there, but the crust is all very minimal, so yeah, we just have to look at the bright side, which is that we didn't burn it. Great. Let's eat. You need to know when the rice is done. You need to know if you're forming the crust underneath. There's just so many things you need to know about that dish that practice. The crust didn't happen, like I said, but you know what? I don't know. But I can fully appreciate how much practice that dish takes and how much of an art it is to make it perfect. So the rice, I think, was done nicely. Like, it was soft on the outside and just a bit firm on the inside. So, you know, slight al dente. And then it absorbed all the flavors of everything. I like the sausage and the pork and the chicken and really everything except the shrimp that didn't have the head have been cooked in a very strange way. Very stiff, and yeah, see, that's the shrimp that didn't have the head. I'm not necessarily a fan of what I've done here with these shrimp, so I don't know what that was. Positive note, the shrimp that had the heads, I like those ones. Those were cooked nicely. And then the mussels. Obviously mussels are mussels, so those were very muscular. I thought that the saffron and the paprika would like kind of give a boost of red into that, and it did, but there could have been a little more redness, and it could have been a little creamier as well. I'm the first one to say it, like there's room to improve with that. Julia, do you have anything else that you can, anything we can sign off with? Whatever in the end goes into a paella, all the various ingredients cooked together with the rice, producing a glorious mixture of taste. Perfect. That's a wrap on that. This was Jamie and Julia. Bon appetit. Au revoir.